Hi, this is Kit Palmer, the editor of Cycle News Magazine. And we just spent the day riding the all-new Royal Enfield 650, or the Bear 650. And it's the scrambler version of the 650 INT. And you might be wondering why they're calling it the Bear. Well, the bike is basically is paying homage to the, I think it was the Big Bear Grand Prix, and Eddie Mulder competed in the race, and I believe it was in 1960, and he rode the Royal Enfield, and he came from way behind, and we won't say why he was behind at the start. So he came from behind and he won the race, and I believe that was in 1960, and he was 16 years old, and so Royal Enfield is paying homage to that. So the Bear 650 is a new version, or a different version of the 650 INT. And I have to start off first by the graphics on this bike. This is the Eddie Mulder version. This is the, I don't know, I guess it's a special edition, but anybody can get this one. And this was the number he wore when he won the race in 1960. And so this has the whole Eddie Mulder look, and I think they did a really nice job on this. There are several other color variants of this bike, but this is probably my favorite, just because of the number of Eddie Mulder and all that, and the heritage this bike represents. So as far as some of the details of this bike, or some of the changes, like I said, it's based on the 650 and the INT. And they made some differences to the engine. It's got a little bit more horsepower. Royal Enfield claims 47 horsepower, but they put more emphasis in torque. So this bike's got quite a bit more torque compared to the INT. You certainly can feel it when you ride it. Some other changes, like it has a nice 2-into-1 exhaust pipe. It's got some really good suspension on it. It's got some quality. These are the Showa forks. These are the big piston 43 millimeter Showa forks. And so they didn't skimp on that. They're not adjustable, but they're really good forks just right from the factory, the way they're set up. And in the back, we have dual Showa spring shocks, and they're all new. Same as the forks, they're not adjustable, but you do have a little bit of preload adjustability with them. But the good quality suspension there, steel frame, and they did the tires. You can see are pretty hefty, 17 and 19-inch tires, and they're pretty hefty. And these tires were Royal Enfield says they were designed specifically for this model, so they're not just any old tires they put on there. They designed these tires for this particular motorcycle. Good street, a little bit off-road. Speaking of off-road, Royal Enfield basically it's a motorcycle that can go off-road. I mean, you'll see a lot of races back in the day when Eddie Mulder was on this, blazing through the desert and Johnson Valley and all that. And but it's not really considered, it's not really designed to be doing that. But if you do want to take it on a little bit off-road, it's more than capable to do that. We did very little of that today, but you can tell it does handle pretty well for the dirt. But we'll leave that for another day when we put some more time on it out on the dirt roads. The bike is actually quite simple, and that's one of the things I kind of like about it. It's very simple. There's not a lot of rider aids on it. There's not a suite of electronics. You do get a nice updated TFT screen, and it provides plenty of information. It's very easy to read. So it's small, but there's a lot going on there, and I really like that a lot. Like I said, there's no engine mapping on this bike. It's got a mechanical throttle, so there's no engine mapping. Really, the only rider aids of any sort is ABS. And it is nice because you can disengage the rear ABS. So you can turn off the rear ABS when you want to go in the dirt a little bit. It will somewhat adjust the front ABS as well, but the ABS on the front will always stay on. So I do like that feature. It's relatively simple. Just hit the mode button like twice, and then it'll disengage it, and then just hit it again, and it turns back on the ABS. So that's a nice little feature. And I like the fact that it has full LED lighting. The headlight is full LED. Really good looking round headlight. It's got LED front blinkers. It's got LED rear blinkers and tail light. So that's really nice. It gives it that kind of, I guess, more modern look about it. And from what I could tell from the other bikes I could see, they really stand out. It looks really good. Oh, so that's the basics of the Bear 650. But the real fun part today was riding it. So we had a pretty good day today. We rode, I think it was about 150 or so miles, and I'd pretty much say it was all street. We did just one little off-road excursion just to get some photos and stuff, but it was all street. And all I could say is a very fun motorcycle to ride. Probably the thing that kind of jumped out at me right away was the motor, was that torque. They told us that they really focused on giving this bike a lot of torque, not so much just outright horsepower, but just torque. So it feels like it's pulling, it feels like it's got a ton of horsepower, and it does. It feels really good. So I was very impressed with the torque. You just roll on the throttle. It doesn't, just no lurching, no hard spot, just nice smooth power, and it's pretty strong. So I was pretty happy with that. Shifting through the gears and getting all that power to the ground is great. This thing shifts really well. I was very impressed with the transmission. Like, I don't think it had hardly any miles on it when I got on it, and it shifted fine just right off the bat. And clutch feels good, and like I said, it just shifts great. So the seat looks, it might not look that comfortable like I was concerned about it at first. It looks very thin and a little bit on the flat side, but they told us that they put a lot of effort into the padding on this seat. And from what I can tell after 150 miles on this, they did a really, really good job on that. Probably the longest we rode at one time was maybe about an hour and a half, and I felt fine on it. I think they did a really, really good job with the seat. So the bike is very comfortable. It's a very, just a neutral sitting. The foot pegs are just kind of like right underneath you, and the bars are a little on the low side, but they're comfortable, and they're kind of cool. They got the crossbar here, right, and the bolt-on crossbar, and the chrome look. That's very kind of classic look. So, but the comfort, I was very impressed with the comfort. It just it does everything well. It's an easy motorcycle to ride. The brakes are pretty strong too. I was impressed with the brakes, and the ABS is amazing. You don't even feel it when it starts to do its thing. It's not obtrusive at all. You barely even know it's there. So a couple times I just crammed down on just make sure it was working, and you go, yeah, it does work. So the ABS works really well on it. The bike corners well, it steers well, it stays planted in the turns. You can really kind of just lay it down, and then about right in the middle of the turn, just open up the throttle, and it stays planted really well. It feels very solid in riding. Like I said, the suspension's good. I guess my only little issue I had with it, for me, the suspension's a little bit on the stiff side for me, and I know I'm probably a little bit lighter than some people. I'm only about, I don't know, maybe 165 pounds, probably with gear like maybe 170 or so. So it might be set up for not my weight. So I felt like it was pretty rigid and stuff. So I would hit some bumps. I kind of blasted out of the seat a little bit. So I wasn't too crazy about that. So I would find ways of just kind of maybe softening suspension for me. But otherwise, I think for a lot of people it's going to be good. I'm just a little, I don't know, not quite set up for me. So anyway, but otherwise the bike handles well, and so I really didn't have any other issues. I was on the off-road a little bit, and there were a couple things I hit pretty hard and felt like I did bottom it, even though it was still kind of stiff. So it's kind of one of those things where I was still able to bottom it, on a hard hit on the off-road, where on the pavement it still feels a little too stiff for me. That's just my opinion on that. So probably the best thing about the whole bike It's a great performing motorcycle. And then you have to look at the MSRP. We just found out today that the MSRP for the base model for the Bear 650 is $68.49. So that's a pretty darn good price for a really, really good package. Some people might think, oh, if it's just $6,800, then it's made cheap or something like that. But Royal Enfield's kind of got it down now. These bikes don't feel like it's a cheap motorcycle at all. I mean, we've been riding them now and they really kind of started coming back in the US about 2018, that the quality is really good. I mean, you look at everything on this bike and it feels quality. And we've been testing quite a few Royal Enfields in the past, in the last few years, and we've seen no issues on reliability or anything like that. So to get such a good performing motorcycle, and one that looks as good as this and performs as well as it does for a scrambler type motorcycle, for $68.49 is really, really nice. Now, some of the different color other versions, there are some price difference, but besides the $68.49, the most expensive one is the Eddie Mulder one, and it's $71.49, I believe. And the other ones are just somewhere right in between, so it could be like a $50 difference or something like that. But for the high end, you get the Eddie Mulder version for $71.49, and such a good performing motorcycle that seems to be, well, it is well built, and it's very attractive piece of motorcycle, especially if you're into that scramblers look, and you want something that's great for around town. You might want to take it down a dirt road. This is a really good bike to consider, especially for the price. I mean, it's not just, oh, it's a great bike because it's $6,800. No, it's a really good bike, and it just costs $6,800. So this bike will be available very soon. It's supposed to be on dealer floors. I think they said November 5th. So you'll be able to see one, up person and live for yourself and sit on it, and you'll be able to maybe fire it up and listen to it, which it does sound really good, by the way. So anyway, that's really about it for now. We'll spend more time on it down the road, and so we were really happy for Royal Enfield inviting us out here to Rancho Mirage to ride the bike. And thanks for listening. And come back. We'll have a full review of this on our website, and we'll also have one in our magazine, Cycle News magazine, and our Cycle News online. So come back, check it out. Thanks for watching, and yeah, go check this bike out. I think you might be surprised. You'll really like the way it looks.